Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mark, you want to lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Karen, would you take the roll call, please?
Lyon,
Ward 1 here.
Schaefer,
Ward 1 here.
Dillon,
Ward 2 here.
Massey,
Ward 2 here.
Ruffing,
Here.
Carter,
Here.
Carpenetti,
Ward 4.
Okay. Do we have any comments from the floor about this agenda? Okay, we move along. Do I have a motion for the approval of the minutes to bring it to the floor for January?
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, any changes? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
The approval of the bills, do I have a motion?
Motion.
A second? Any discussion for January? All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the monthly reports, the City Clerk, City Treasurer, Court Clerk for January. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the first resolution, number 13, appointment of health officer. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I will lead out the discussion here. The health department is one of our chartered committees that we really haven't had any activity for many years. It is a committee where the health officer has a 4-year term and the committee members are a 3-year term. It's a committee of 6. We had Mary Meetop was our official person, health officer, public health officer, for many years. And when I called her and asked her, what have you done, what did you do during COVID and everything, they really didn't do anything. And so I decided that her term is up, that we would really look at it in terms of what we can do to be beneficial to the community with regard to some of the challenges that families have in the community. So I spoke with Melissa Peruzzi, who is, she has a master's in nursing and a specialty in geriatric nursing. She works at the Hospital Bassett. Before that, she was at MVHS and at St. Elizabeth's. And so she's been in nursing for a very long time, very well educated, lots of pluses, delightful person. She views what we can do is more family care, really a lot of educational things that we can be doing, and also working with the Cornell Cooperative to start cranking up some great training materials, things like that. So I am asking for the appointment, actually, of her for our officer position, the health officer. Do I have any other discussion about that? Okay.
Didn't you say that she was a nurse practitioner?
Yes, she is. Okay, any other discussion? We need a roll call on this.
Lyon,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Dillon,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Ruffing,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Carpenetti.
Yes.
Okay. The next resolution, number 14, is the appointment to the Board of Health, a member of the committee. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
A second? I'll lead out on this one again for the discussion. This is Cindy Alexander. She used to be Cindy Alguire, native of Little Falls. Her mother used to work in the counselor's office for many years at the high school. She moved back here from Cape Cod. She has a master's in healthcare administration, an MA in criminal justice, a BA in human services. Also, she is a registered nurse. So her background is licensed alcohol and drug counselor, and also a licensed mental health counselor. So she's not a nurse practitioner, but she is an excellent candidate to work on that committee, to work with some of the issues that we have in the city, which is mental illness, as well as we have a drug culture, especially in the youth and moving from teenagers into the early 20s. She's currently working at Herkimer County Mental Health, and 80% of her practice up there are Little Falls residents. So the need is definitely there. So that's looking at appointing her to the 3-year term. Any discussions? Any comments? Okay. Do a roll call.
Lyon,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Dillon,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Ruffing,
Yes.
Carter, Carpenetti.
Okay.
Mayor?
Yes.
This is one member of that committee. Is there going to be other committee members?
There are. In fact, Dan Carter agreed to come on board also. We need 6.
6, okay.
So if you have candidates that you think might be good, I'd love to hear about them.
All right, thank you.
Sure. And our next one here is resolution number 15, the declaration of emergency. This is the water treatment center. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
A second? Okay. Laying out the discussion on this, this is one that we've been doing a lot of work on, and this is a water treatment production capacity that is at a critical point here, where the usage demands in combination with water loss in the distribution system are anticipated to get to a critical point over the spring is what we're looking at. So it's the timing is really very delicate to get this right and get this moving. By working with this declaration, it opens up great opportunities for us that we may not have otherwise, and expedites some of the things that can help move the process forward. Chet, do you want to add anything to the discussion on this one?
So I think talking about financing opportunities that it opens up, and also it stresses the urgency of the situation. We have a letter of violation from the Department of Health from December 19th. I think it was in the last packet. We owe the Department of Health a strategic plan as we move forward with this water emergency by March 31st, 2025, so coming up really quickly. It does open us up to financing and funding options down the road. There is emergency financing available through EFC, short-term loans, 0% in our case, that we could access quickly and wouldn't go against our bond rating, which is a plus. And then later this summer, we have the typical rounds of grant funding that we can apply for. That this would be extra points in our direction as we're evaluating for grant funding as we move forward with permanent implementation of this solution.
The city is not in a position financially to take on this alone without grant funding to fix the problem. And the capacity problem from the filtration, not being able to take one of the reservoirs offline for any given time to repair, to clean, to provide maintenance is a very scary situation. And, you know, we've been running with, 54% of the city's treated water is lost due to leaks. So that exacerbates the problem. So not only are we spending a fortune trying to get it clean through filters that the filtration system, that's the slug sand, is taking forever, it's not working, they're changing filters all the time, not effective. We have to produce so much more because to get to households when we're losing 54% of what we're cleaning to the leakage. So it's like the perfect storm ready to collapse. And with the spring coming on and all the sediment that ends up in the water, it makes it even more challenging and more of a burden on the system that's very, very fragile. So I don't know, we have our department, this New York State Department of Health. Kate or Sarah, any thoughts that you would want to add to this discussion?
No, not really. I mean, my only update would be that whatever, if the resolution is passed tonight, then I'll be sending that at my chain of command. And, you know, my chain of command is very interested in this issue. They elevate things to the governor's office, so more eyes on from higher levels of the state will definitely help in the funding arena.
Perfect, thank you. And it is also one of those, go ahead, Tim.
Would there be any day-to-day effects on the city residents of Little Falls seen by this emergency declaration, or would there be really no change day-to-day?
So you mean as far as
Would
the
it
water?
have anything, like, would we now have to boil water, or do anything, would there be anything that residents would see or have to change in their behavior?
Yeah, I think we talked about that the last time. If we did nothing, there would be likely some of that we'd have to look into. We're trying to get ahead of it so it never happens. But it would be in the situation, right, that there would be water that you'd have to boil water and get into all of that. If we got to the point where we would have to use, say for instance, like Spruce Lake water or something that is not filtrated, it presents a problem. So it's not likely we're going to go there because we are getting ahead of it. But the option to do nothing is not rational.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
anything else? Yeah.
Once we get all how many filter beds are there? Once we get them all cleaned back to the park, which is gonna take some doing, because we have to go deeper than 2 inches or 3 inches.
Take everything.
You gotta take it all. Okay. Once we get all that done, are we still gonna hang on to this filtration plant? Will we keep it?
That's a good Chet question. I'm going to let Chet answer because he's got all the details today.
That's what we're shooting for, exactly.
That is the draft plan at this point, is to keep it long-term. So right now, it's going to be set up as a rental. That's the only way we can get it quick enough is as a rental, not something that's custom built for us. They do a 1-year rental and then they'll extend it another year. So within that time frame that we have this sort of sideline treatment happening or available to us, we'll have the time to figure out what our next step is. Do we have them custom build another one so that we have a trailer that is ours? And then long term, where do we go from there? Do we switch from slow sand over to membrane filtration? Then we have time to make sure that what we're doing is the right move for the city. But this gets us over that.
But the only way to make Spruce Reservoir and Convent work is through this new membrane system.
Correct.
So,
There may be other technologies that could do it also, and we'll take time to evaluate that. But yes, membrane filtration will do it. It might not be the most cost effective in the long run. So there's things to look at in that in-between time of getting us through this emergency point and then to the point where we have a permanent installation.
one more question, I'll leave you alone.
Sure.
Once we get them cleaned, then we turn the membrane, we turn the other filtration system on the trailer off. We'll be able to keep up with the cleaning of the 8 without having to go and re-rent this again.
If you were to replace all the same, all the filter bads, we'll be back to the beginning where we were 20 years ago.
Correct, just like it was brand new.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that still is only going to last for so long, we're going to have the same problem.
Right, that's what I'm trying to get to. So we need to go to the future, somewhere along the line here, us wanting to use Spruce Lake.
Right, because that's another primary source for us, and looking forward, water's our greatest asset, and certainly counting on it for shared services with the area communities that I've been working with that want to, they want our water. And so we have to look at it in terms of not just returning to 20 years ago with something that is outdated and certainly doesn't, it's labor intensive and there's a lot of reason that you wouldn't want to go back to that. It's go forward with something that is more practical and that we can add a membrane each time we need additional capacity, just thinking about it differently than what we have in the past. So it's an opportunity in one respect to, yes, we have an emergency, we need to fix it and buy some time so we can make sure this is the right direction. But on 2 site visits, they came back and thought that this is the right direction to go.
Because the key here is to keep, we don't need fine. Once you get fined, you're money behind. So we need to keep up with what we need to do, because every time you get fined, that's money that you're throwing out the window. So, right, ladies? I mean, you're,
Our goal is not to cost
Your
you
goal is
money.
not-
Our goal is to protect the public.
To try to help
And
us.
build the water system.
to try to help us
So,
rebuild
and
it.
if we can avoid fines, that's great.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to get at, because we're not in a situation where we can afford fines. So if we can stay on the straight and narrow, we should be okay. Period.
Right. The thing of it is,
Take that.
we have to fix the emergency right now. We're vulnerable and we're risking a really bad situation if we don't take care of it. So let's stop it, you know, put a finger in the dike. Let's just stop it from getting any worse. We still have to fix the leak problems, right? Because that's just insanity. So it's a two-pronged approach here, but with a sight on whatever we get, let's look at it from you know, a high level that we need to really think about this technology going forward, and does it suit us? And the scalability is something that's very attractive, but short term, we can fix the problem, and that's our high priority right now.
We'll always have water leaks, that's what you have to remember. You can have the tightest system, and tomorrow you're going to have water leak. It doesn't matter what kind of system you have. You're always going to have water break somewhere, whether it be a main break or service or whatever, but you're never going to have a completely tight water system. Nobody does. I don't think, ladies, you would know, it's hard to.
No, I mean, a certain percentage of losses expected in any.
Yeah, you try to keep the losses to a minimum. And that's what we always try to do in the city. You know, I did it, I worked for
Yeah, right now we're at 52%, 52 or 54%. That's unacceptable loss of water, and $300,000 cost to the city for that we can't recover. So that's got to be fixed too. So it's a huge challenge, but an opportunity too. It's really important to the city that we get this right.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay. We need a roll call vote on this one, Karen.
Lyon,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Dillon,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Ruffing,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Carpenetti.
Yeah.
Okay. Get it?
Yep.
Okay. So the motion passed. Resolution number 16, public hearing, local law number 1 for parking permit fees. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
A second? Okay. I'll start the discussion with this particular one. Our parking permit fees have not been updated since 2005. So we looked at what we felt was reasonable. We compared other communities, Dowsville, Herkimer, Gloversville, and, you know, so we at least are aligned with those. On the two that went up, well, the parking in handicap zone has always been $50. The snowband parking has been $20, and we've realized it's too low for compliance, and so we brought that up to $50 to be aligned with public access. So if you park in a handicap parking, you're preventing public access for that reason. And the same with parking on the street, we're preventing EMS and fire access. So that's why that one's a little bit higher. So have you had a chance, Council, have you had a chance to look this over?
Yes.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I was just wondering so it also mentions the fines that are $15 going to $20. What typically would those fines be?
A $15 one was
Yeah.
parking in front of a fire hydrant.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, I'd just like to comment that the fine amounts aside, I just want to make sure that we have a system in place to keep track of the violators, right? So the people that are likely to follow the laws and pay for their tickets, they'll come in and pay it regardless of what the amount is. We need to make sure that we have a system in place that is holding accountable the repeat offenders, keeping track of and taking action against them. So it's fair for all the residents.
I agree with that. I think we should be doing that. Yes, go ahead.
So the people that have been disputing the tickets, it's kind of new to Carol. She tells me, and I don't know what happened in the past, but it seems like they got dismissed.
Yes.
I contact the court, and it's kind of new to the court, to we'll iron out Karen and I have been doing it with the court, we'll iron out the bumps. And in Herkimer, we had them come to court. I don't have the legal authority that I know to dismiss a violation. I have the legal authority to recommend.
Can you speak up a little bit?
I'd rather
Sorry.
have the court do it. So what Karen and I have been doing is telling the court to set them down and come in with the disputed tickets. You know, if it's a legitimate, real problem, when you get people that baffles me that don't want to pay, it's not a big fine. Maybe not just a nickel or cream, but they're not big fines. And so maybe bring them into court. The court will have a record that they came in. And then if they plead not guilty, you have to bring one of your officers in there with it. And I like the way, and for you folks that don't know how it works, the mayor does. Every 2 months we have Nick McCree Day in court for the traffic tickets, codes, and we'll just include this. So every couple of months, the people then will give you your checks and balances.
Okay, so to clarify, they would not be dismissed. They would come in, they would have a court date that would be assigned to them, and as a group would come in, you know, every couple of weeks or whatever. They would come in and then go before the court.
Right. And then if they want a trial, the court will set it down for the day I'm there.
Okay.
And then, you know, I'll talk to the judge, and, you know, I'll order some tickets, and I'll make a recommendation. Look, on parking tickets, either pay or have a trial, I think, or have it dismissed. However, that'll give you your checks and balances, because Garrett kind of didn't know.
So
We
we
did
currently
different
have,
than the prior attorney.
Right.
we currently have the ordinance on the books, the boot. There's an ordinance, local law that was passed years ago to apply the boot for people that did not pay.
Have you used it?
And it would do since I retired.
Same thing happened to her.
So, but the ordinance is still existing, so we would have to revisit that and possibly.
Sure, if you meet the elements of the ordinance, you can boot the car, and they have to pay their own tickets to get it moved, right? Right. Something like that works.
Okay.
We'll look at that, I'll look at that.
So looking at booting after a certain period of time when they don't pay the tickets, that the vehicle would be booted.
Kara, if you could get me that.
Okay. Any other conversation about the parking tickets? We need a roll call. Well, I think we could probably do just a regular vote on this one. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Okay. Next resolution is number 17, a public hearing that we're requesting for local law number 2, the tax cap override. So it looks like we'll be doing another override this year. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second? Did you get that? Second? Okay. We're working the numbers, I'll start the discussion. We're working the numbers right now. It's anywhere from, we're looking at around 6%. We'll see, we're not there yet, we're still working on the budget. And we've got a gap we have to close, we've got to find it somewhere. So by the time we get to the hearing, we need a public hearing, so by the time we get to that point, we'll have it refined with an actual number. But we're just giving notice that, so Kira can go ahead and put the hearing out for the public. Okay?
It's best to have a hearing and get it approved. If we don't need it, that's fine.
We can always pull it.
Then you feel
but it looks like we're going to be doing a tax cap override this year as well. So, any other discussion?
What is the percentage this year?
It's looking like 6%, but we'll see.
I mean, override number for the state, what was it, 2, 3, 2, 4, in that area? 2? Wow.
A lot of municipalities pass this just in case.
Yeah.
We actually get
3.32%.
Yeah, 3.32%, based on our size and equalization and all the different things that go into it. So, but we will be going over that this year.
Okay.
Is
Okay?
that
Thank
due
you.
to the equalization, Mayor? I'm curious.
Pardon?
The statute says 2%. Is that due to the fact that your equalization rate, only that factors in?
It does.
Gotcha.
That's right.
Gotcha. Thank you. I just-
Okay. So any other discussion on that one? Okay. All in favor? Any noes? Okay, passes. The next one, resolution number 18, local law number 3. This is another public hearing. So March is going to have a lot of public hearings before the council meeting. This is the 2025 budget. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second? Any discussion? Okay, the budget, we have right now a gap of about 500,000 that we're trying to close. So we're close. We've had a lot of things that have been playing into this as far as our fiscal year end and when we would start it, when we would end it, and all of that. We had some really good conversations today with Bonadeo, our accounting firm, and follow-up conversations with a couple of mayors that I was working with regard to deficit financing and things like that. So we have more information now. We'll start getting our finance committee together. It was delayed, apologies, but we had to at least pull it together enough so that we had some meaningful conversation around it. So we'll look at that next week to try to schedule a time. We come in again, just like we did last year, and we just sit there and we bring the department heads in to go through the line items with us. But we want to get closer to closing that gap before we waste everybody's time. So that's where we are right now. So, any questions on that? So by the time we hit the hearing, we will have that available. The gap will be closed, and we'll have everyone from the finance committee aware of what we're doing. Okay? Any questions? Any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, passes. Resolution 19, public hearing, local law number 4, City Hall parking lot. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
A second? Thank you. Okay. Any discussion? We allow, this pertains to giving our police officers the authority to be able to ticket someone in our parking lot when they overstay. We have signage in there that allows people to park at night from 9 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning, but they have to have their cars removed by 6 in the morning so that employees and city business can continue. So we do this especially during the snow bans and things like that to help people out where they don't have a place to park at their residence. But some people that take advantage of it and leave cars there for 2 or 3 days, and then there's no place for anybody who is working here to park or any meetings. It starts at 9 o'clock because we have meetings in the evenings. We want people who are attending the meetings to be able to come in and park their car. So, do we have any questions,
At
comments?
6 o'clock, getting out in the morning, you go out there.
It is, but that's when the plow comes to clean out the parking
But
lot.
I can see somebody not using it just because of that reason.
Well, that's okay. They don't have to use it. It's just an option.
It's a free service.
It's a
that we
free,
offer
it's a free
for
thing,
these
and you
people.
won't, it'll prevent you from getting a ticket.
The onus is on the person using the lot to.
Yeah,
get
I mean, they
out.
could
That's-
come down at
that's
6
everything.
o'clock, remove their car, and then go back home and fall asleep again.
A lot of residents have to park on the sidewalk, and they have to have them off at 6 in the morning also. So that's not an uncommon thing for residents in the city, unfortunately. Inconvenient, but not uncommon.
Yeah. We're trying to come up with ideas that will work. And so our lot is available, and a lot of people are interested in it. So, you know, it's been popular. But those who just leave it there forever is not working out for us. So this will give the PD the authority to write a ticket if somebody exceeds it. Okay? Any other questions?
Yeah, when's the rest of it going to get done then? The rest of the parking lot?
Oh, that's a good question.
Is there
Any
just
thoughts on
like
that?
spots when-
That's before I got here, and it really hasn't even come up.
That is a good question. That's been quiet for quite a while. I don't know if that property was ever turned over to the city. I know that it was committed to that purpose, but I don't know if it was actually turned
There
over
was
to
an
us.
agreement.
There was an agreement.
But was it conveyed?
Agreement.
Do you know, Karen?
It's been very
I'd
quiet.
have to double check.
I was
They
right,
did
because,
do that, so-
you know, there's those spots.
But did the property actually get conveyed? Resolution is one thing, but did the property
I
transaction
have to see
happen?
if we have any kind of.
Okay. Jennifer said she didn't have any documents when she left, so I have nothing to go back to for any kind of legal documents.
I will check to see what I have on file though.
But it's a good thing, we should do something with it.
It needs to work the park though.
Is that-
It needs to work that parking lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be drained out, and even if you got crusher, I mean, they're having to help out for a little while. We do
Yeah.
have a lot of spots there, you know, that
But we can't do it if it's somebody else's land.
Yeah, so there was a.
We had an
Right,
agreement.
it's supposed to
Right,
like
agreement
it.
for the city to accept that lot once they demolished the house. And we have a layout all set up to
Right.
rebuilding and strengthening there.
Right.
But we kind of quiet for a year and a half or so.
Mark Babbitt was there, so and Dave Malone. Dave Malone was here with Mark Babbitt, and
She was just-
we all okay.
We have a resolution for it.
We go to know.
Okay. So any other comments or questions?
No, I understand.
Okay. So we're ready for a vote? All in favor? Any noes? Okay, it's passed. The next one is resolution number 20, another public hearing. This is the deficit financing that we're looking at with the state of New York. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay. This particular one is, we've talked about deficit financing for some time now, and we're getting our numbers pulled together. We want the public hearing, obviously, because we'll be committing taxpayer dollars to paying this off over a 10-year period of time. So what it would do is consolidate our our funds and to zero them out. So we would be paying the funds right now. We have the golf fund that has 20,000, that's a real small one. But we have also 2.7, I think it went down slightly, the general fund, and 666,000 for the water fund that we would consolidate and zero out, that would be paid out over 10 years. We're looking at revenue gap and a few other things, but essentially that's what we would be financing. So it would be right around $3 million that we would be financing through deficit financing, the way it looks right now. So we're refining those numbers based on the conversations that we had today. Should have them ready over the next week. But we want to be able to get that in because we need a vote on that in order to take it to Senator Walzig, Assemblyman Smolin, and for them to carry it through the Senate and the Assembly. So, and we want to do that for May. So, any questions? Okay. So, do we all in favor?
Aye.
Any noes? Okay. The next one is a resolution 21, appointment of codes officer. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Okay. This one is, for all of you who don't know, Phil Green retired on Friday after 27, 28 years, long time with the city. And we have been working with Bianca Rico, for the last, quite a while actually, last few months, she's been shadowing Phil. She spent the last year and a half going back to school to get her certification to be a codes officer, and she has it. She has also been working with her 24 hours. Each year, codes officers have to take 24 hours of training. She took it last year, she's taking it again this year. I think she's a good candidate. She approached me, oh gosh, a year and a half ago, and was really interested in what the city looked like, the blight, and all of the things that we can do from a codes perspective to cure that problem. Became very interested, and I said, well, why don't you throw your hat in the ring and get your certification? So I thought I was teasing with her a little bit. She actually did. So it's incredible. Her certificate is here. She will be coming in as soon as possible, but she's ready to go. And like I say, she has been shadowing Phil. She's been spending some time with him, going out to restaurants. She's gone out on different locations, construction sites, things like that. Phil also is going to be in the wings. If we need him for anything, he will jump in and help. So we're thankful for that. But that's what that's about. Any questions? Yes.
So this is not a civil service position, it's appointed by the council?
It is a civil service position, but it's considered civil service, right, Sarah?
Yep. It's
But-
just right now there's the health program going on, is what Steve Billing says. So for certain civil service positions, the exams are waived.
Yes. They're waived in a lot of areas, actually. They can't get enough people to fill jobs. And so they're waiving the exams in accounting, account clerks. They're waiving it in codes enforcement. And if you look around, there's no codes enforcers around. It's pretty empty out there. So really hard to get people to devote the time to it and then want to do it.
Thank you. So my other question is contract. So will she be getting Phil Green's contract? Is she gonna get a new contract? Are we gonna see that contract?
It's in the next line,
It is, okay.
or coming up quick.
It's the last one on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, so you can take a look at that. Any other questions?
If we do hire her, we'll continue to send her to school, NICOM, whatever she needs, to construction, there's all different sorts of codes, so
Right.
we'll help her out with that.
We do have that in our contract,
Oh, okay.
that to help her out with her recurring, just like we do with Chat and
She'll
Angela.
use the city vehicle
She would,
for in town, or if she has to go out of town for court or school aid.
anything city related, she'll use the city vehicle. Okay? In this one, we need a roll call.
Lyon,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Dillon,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Ruffing,
Yes.
Turner,
Yeah.
Carpenetti.
Yes.
Okay. The next one is amending the resolution number 42 of August 1980, the Gulf Commission budget back into the city budget. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay.
I think last month I mentioned that we had a fund balance of $8,600 for the last year. The year before, we also had a fund balance of about $6,000. So we thought this was a good time to go back to the city budget. And it's one of the things the state recommended. So it's kind of follow what the state wants us to do.
In 1980, the Gulf Commission was making good money, and it was part of the general budget. Right? And what happened was that their money, because they had an increase every year, was taken out to put it against other expenditures. And when you did that, it left the Gulf Commission with nothing. They couldn't buy mowers, they couldn't buy anything. They said, okay, we've had enough of this, and we want to do our own thing, and we'll be self-sustaining in our own way. And so that's how it moved out. We went back and searched the resolutions. I talked to Mayor Peters about it. Everybody got the whole story. So it was just basically, it was an accounting thing we did, because no matter what department you're in, whether it's golf, whether it's rec, whether it's water, sewer, you have a budget. You have to stay within your budget. So any expenditure that they would have to come through us. Any debt has to come through us. So we're really not doing anything different except putting it back into the general fund again. So it makes sense. The auditors were talking about, why do you have a separate general fund for such a small amount of budget? So I think the budget was like 128, 130. So, it makes no sense. So bringing it back in, there's no downside to it. There's no upside, there's no downside. It's just a matter of sliding it back over. And it'll make it a little more streamlined for us from an accounting perspective and make better sense. So the only things that we have, so anything that would be, taxable will be in the general fund, and for tax purposes that are paid with taxpayer dollars. And then the water and the sewer would be the separate funds that we have, because we charge for that. So they're self-sustaining based on what we charge for water and sewage. So I think it'll be simpler. And the commission is ready to move that direction. They voted on it the last meeting, and all were in favor. So, any questions, discussion? Okay, we'll need a roll call on this one.
Lyon.
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
Dillon.
Yes.
Massey.
Yes.
Ruffing.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Carpenetti.
Yes.
Okay. The next one, Resolution 23. This is a proposal as engineer for emergency water treatment filtration, except, ACC. Okay, got it. Do I have a motion? Second? Okay. This is, Chet, let me have you explain.
Sure, so,
This is the one that is, we're accepting the engineer, not the engineer, but we're accepting the engineer's recommendation for which contractor will handle the boiler system and wastewater treatment.
we went to resolution 25.
I'm on 23.
We're 23,
Well, let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. You're right. So this 23, let me look here real quick.
Engineer for emergency water.
Oh, this is the emergency water treatment filtration proposal. Okay, so that is the Wright Pierce, the 12-page,
Yes.
which is a proposal for their engineering services for the wastewater, for the water treatment filtration, the emergency water issue that we're dealing with.
Right, so that proposal is for the design and permitting of the membrane filtration skid. So this is all the design and permitting required by DOH, working with DOH, taking their comments, incorporating that, and also generating a preliminary engineering report for the project, and also generating the strategic plan, which is due March 31st, along with any other components of that plan that we should also move forward with. We need to evaluate membrane filtration, might be plus some other pieces of design that may be required by DOH that we're not aware of yet until we really get in the thick of it. So this is the proposal to move that forward. I will say for this proposal and also the another one we're going to talk about tonight is the water withdrawal permit for DEC. We don't have financing set up for them yet. However, I want to point out that I think by the council moving forward, you'll want to commit to financing next month. But we're at the point where to meet a March 31st deadline, we really can't wait on that. So we need to move forward, start the process, give the mayor the ability to sign the contracts. And then in the meantime, we can look at emergency water financing. And also, as Kate from the Department of Health said, that as this moves up the chain to New York State, that kind of brings some more eyes on us with some potential avenues for funding.
So in looking at their proposal in your packet, it's this one. It's 12 pages. And they've done, everything that I've seen from them so far has been top drawer. I mean, they do a really good job. They're giving us their rates and what their estimate of what would need to be done. And their proposal, and this is just engineering, for it's not cheap. It's $423,000 is what they're thinking that their total engineering cost will be by the time we get finished with this. So it is, in this, what we're looking for is just an approval that this is acceptable as far as engineering to go forward, and then we can start getting them to work. The challenge is that right now the clock is running out. Spring is going to be here shortly, and we have no activity going at the moment. So this would start the activity. And this is their proposal of what they anticipate the cost will be. Once we get into it and we see how far we go, phase one may not be so much. It would be also paid through grants we would look for to pay this. And that's where we're getting the grants going is really important. Because from what I understand, they will even fund more quickly than what other grants would if we're in an emergency situation. So usually if you're a regular grant recipient and you're waiting, you might wait a year to find out, or a better part of a year to find out. With the emergency declaration that we did, they'll move very quickly to get money to us. So that should balance out okay. But it's one of those things there's no way around it. We have to fund this upfront like all grants and then get reimbursed. But I'm thinking the reimbursement is going to be faster than other times. Fingers crossed, but that's what the concept is.
We've been discussing this for months on end, and we've set ourselves in a position where this is what we need to do, but we really don't have much choice at this point, because we've progressed to this point. We know we have to do it, but it's, it's really, it's not something that needs a lot more deliberation.
Yeah, with this firm too, they specialize in water and that sort of thing, and so that's why Chet chose them to work with us on this. It's a very complex, and what we're asking them to do is a little bit different, and so of course we're, always doing something odd that nobody else does. But I think they're a good firm to work with. Any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, for Jeff. Didn't we have to spend money recently at the sewer plant to clean up the water going into the river?
Yeah, that was a DEC consent order that we had to construct the ultraviolet disinfection process at the plant. So
You can't use that for city water?
You cannot. Those two funding sources are separate. From the state, there's two buckets of money, one for clean water and one for dirty water.
But doesn't New York City use that system for cleaning their water? They don't have filtration.
Well, we're using ultraviolet disinfection at the wastewater treatment plant. We also have ultraviolet disinfection at the water plant. Same process, but two different.
That's not effective enough in itself.
That's disinfection, not
Right.
filtration. And that's disinfection, not filtration.
Okay.
So the ultraviolet disinfection doesn't take anything out of the water, so any contaminants that are in the water, the filtration is what takes that out.
So the ultraviolet just kills the bugs?
Kills the bugs, and keeps you from getting sick.
And that's it?
That's it.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, we need a roll call on this.
Lyon?
Yes.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Dillon?
Yes.
Massey?
Yes.
Ruffing?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Carpenetti?
Yeah.
Okay, resolution number 24 is agreement between the City of Little Falls and Wright Pierce Engineering, and that is for the water withdrawal permitting. Okay, this is a separate contract. This is DEC has to approve how much water we take out of the ground, even though we own the land. So they are very skilled at going through the whole process of getting the permit underway. And so this is one we're looking for, the contract to be signed here, the agreement to be reviewed. And here's the agreement, let me see here. Okay, this is one that we, you want to explain?
Sure. So this was, I can't remember the original month last year. Yeah, I'd say about 4 to 6 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, DEC gave us a notice that they originally gave us 90 days to respond to them with a thorough watershed withdrawal permit. In the past, year to year, we filed this, it's yearly, correct? The watershed withdrawal permit. We've been using numbers that have been reused for decades, if not longer than decades, and sort of grandfathered into DEC's permitting system. So DEC's finally caught up to that and is requiring us to do a full permit, and that full permit requires hydrologic, which means water under the ground, and a hydrology study, water above the ground, to figure out what the safe withdrawal for these cities. So how much can the city safely take out of the watershed before we would do damage to the environment in the watershed? So that's what DEC's asking for. Originally, I can't remember if it was a 30-day or 90-day window, but we were able to get an extension of that. They gave us a year extension at that point to this September. So we've got a little bit of extra time, but it's a lot of work to get there. In working with Ray Pierce, we've committed to, between the water department and myself, doing some of the work ourselves to keep the costs down as best as we can. But still, it's a lot of work to get there. So we may still reduce it from here, but this is a target for us.
Okay, so thank you. We kind of got into more discussion before a motion, but we need to bring it to the floor. So do I have a motion? Okay, a second?
Second.
Okay. Any comments or additional discussion? Any questions? Yeah, they were very good to us to allow us to skate out this year without having to do it. It's expensive, but I think we've worn out our welcome to a certain extent. We've been pushing it off a number of years, so it's got to be done. And it's important too, if I'm not mistaken, for us going forward as we share services and all that to know exactly what our capacity of intake is going to be allowed by DEC. So we want to know that number for sure. Okay? Any questions? Okay, we'll do a roll call on this one as well.
Lyon.
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
Dillon.
Yes.
Massey.
Yes.
Ruffing.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Carpenetti.
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 25, accepting award contract number 1. And this is the wastewater treatment boiler replacement to T. McElligott, or McElligott Company. This one, okay, let's go ahead and bring it to the floor. Let's have a motion, if we could.
Motion. Second.
Okay. Jen, here's another one for you. You'll see in your packet, they are the $272,000 bid, which was the low bid of the 3 that they were looking at. And so we're really looking at accepting that bid to give them the award for this. We don't have financing, again, on this one lined up, so that will be a different resolution. Anything else you want to add to that one?
No, thank you. I know we talked about this too in the previous months, that the wastewater treatment plant does not have functional boilers. So there's intermittent heating, I would say, at best, at the sewage treatment plant right now. We've been waiting for this for quite a while. And we're looking at only a 2-week delivery time for the boilers themselves, plus the work. So it'll be a couple of month project, but we do need to get it moving.
Yeah, they're pretty tough down there at the wastewater treatment facility, but, you know, it's been pretty cold this winter, so. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Roll call?
Lyon,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Dillon,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Ruffing,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Carpenetti.
Yeah.
Okay. Resolution number 26, approving the city clerk to advertise for Smith Creek culvert replacement. This is going out for bids, is that my understanding? Okay. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay. And you all know where the Smith Creek culvert is. That's the hole in the parking lot over near Bassett. So this is something that we need to move forward on. You want to add anything to that, Jen?
No, just that this would be put out to bid. Bids will be due before the next kind of council meeting, so we'll have an actual price and contract at that meeting, and then we can talk about award and financing. This would also be, I did verify with New York State DOT, and this is a project that will be fully funded by DOT. But like all grants or awards, we put the money out first, so we'll have a short-term loan of some sort. And then thankfully DOT is quick to reimburse, so it's a quarterly reimbursement. So the money will go out pretty fast this summer, but will also come back fast.
So you're thinking DOT instead of CHIPS, or is CHIPS, that is CHIPS?
It's
Okay. Okay. All right. Any discussion? Okay. Roll call?
Lyon,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Dillon,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Ruffing,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Carpenetti.
Okay. Resolution number 27, appointment of a temporary person, account clerk in the city treasurer's office. Well, let's bring it to the floor. Do we have a motion? Second. This is a result of a person in the city treasurer's office. There's 3 people in there, that includes Sarah and 2 others, that has been absent for an extended period of time due to illness. It has placed a substantial burden on the department to get things done, especially if one is sick. You have one person trying to manage the whole thing, and it's literally impossible. We've been moving Patty from upstairs to cover periodically when she can manage it, but it's not sustainable. So while all of that is worked out, through the process of what we're going to do, we need temporary help. And so this is a young lady who, Brittany Ciro, who applied, and she looks really great. She would like it full-time, which is always an asset to us to go to full-time. But for 90 days, we're going to do temporary and see how it goes. Is any questions? Okay. Roll call?
Lyon,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Dillon,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Ruffing,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Carpenetti.
Yeah.
Okay. Resolution 28 is codes enforcement contract, and this is the one that we were talking about earlier. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
This is the contract, let's see if I have it here. Our contract follows Phil's contract. We tightened up a couple of things in areas where as far as time off, different things like that, health insurance. So she'd be working 30, what does it say? Yeah, 35 hours a week, and being the same as Phil. We're not right at the moment. Phil took on a lot of shared services, so his salary was reflective of that. So she's starting out at the bottom. She's starting out at 48, and then she's got increases over the next few years, 4 years, to 28, which would bring her about 4% each year, 3% the second 2 years. Let's see if there's anything in here that same deal on work hours, same callback time, same holidays, health insurance, same sort of thing. Sick leave, the same. So it really isn't too, it's pretty much identical with the development and education. City covers the cost of continuing education trade to maintain trade licenses. So we do that with quite a few of our agreements. Any questions?
Mayor, I have a question. So the Phil's salary was, that was shared with other municipalities, or?
There were agreements before I got here that were set up in an odd fashion. Essentially, Phil had a base salary, and then he made an additional $20,000 that was paid by the city for his work in other municipalities. He took the line, well, it was the larger portion. The city evidently, in years past, was supposed to bill a certain percentage or a small amount, but that didn't really happen for many years. So that's how he increased his salary.
So this salary is not considering housing under mutual agreements with other communities then, at this point?
It is. How we do the shared services, how I've been doing them, just like with engineering, we compensate the employee, but we make the agreement, the city makes the agreement with the other community. And we arrive at a dollar amount that is what they pay each time, but the majority of that goes to the city. We don't really have it where we carve off so much because we're taking care of that employee with increases to
So those
compensate.
agreements will continue then?
Agreements, well, the way Phil, two agreements that will not go through the city. That would be Schuyler and Town of Little Falls. They will go directly with Phil. That's what he has arranged. So until he's done, working freelance, and then it'll circle back to the city. But it was a strange way of doing it. So, but anyway, so all of his accounts that were freelance like that were brought into his salary. So his pension is based on not his base salary, but the full amount of what he had coming in.
Where do these increases coincide with all the other city contracts? 'Cause
It's actually less.
no, I mean, as far as year-wise, this is gonna continue, it looks like this goes to 28.
Yeah.
Are the other contracts up before that?
As far as individuals that we have contracts with, yeah, they're at different times. Like Chet's year on what, 3 years?
Year before, 3 years.
Yeah, so most of them are, and Nick is 1 year. It just depends on the role. But this was how it was set up with Bill. So we kept it with that. Anything else?
Well, we set up another codes board. At one time, we had a codes board, and then it kind of went to the wayside.
Yeah, we're exploring that now. I think there's some value to that. It was set up before, though, for a different intent. I think it could be helpful, especially with someone who is starting out in the industry. It might be a good way to provide some guidance and some support. So we'll look at that for sure. Anything else? Okay, roll call.
Lyon,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Dillon,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Ruffing,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Carpenetti.
Yeah.
Okay. Getting toward the end, everybody. Appreciate the patience here. Any new business? Do we have a motion? Or I guess we don't need a motion, sorry. Any new business? Any old business? Comments from the floor? City engineer, do you have a report or anything to share?
I did update the online report that everybody has a link to. And I'd also been thinking the last couple of days, and working with the mayor over the next week or so as we look at the budget as well, we should we generate a timetable, and we have so much going on over the next couple of months, and the timing of those contracts and projects is going to be important. So we're going to bring that together and I'll share it.
Okay. Yeah, we're trying to merge the capital projects and the cost to do these capital projects with our budgets, so that it's merged together, so our financial budget, we know when we need to, I mean, they're done, they're two separate entities, but blurring and merging them together will make it a whole lot easier to predict revenue shortages or what we need to have with regard to any kind of bans or funding. So we're working on it, it's in the process, but right now we have to look at one report and look at the other. We have to, because we're going through some deficit financing and we're working through kind of a difficult year this year, again, like we did last year, we are going to have to be very, very cautious with what we do with capital expenditures. We're just, you know, there's just so much tolerance we're going to have with regard to financing, funding, because certainly the water treatment issue that we're dealing with is a top priority. There's no choice. We have to do that. But I think that everything that Chet brings to the table is necessary and needed. It's just how we time that and do. We push some of it off to next year. If we can, we're going to have to. But that being said, anything else? Chet?
No, other than, let me know if you have questions. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there is. We'll go to mayor's comments, and I'll keep it short this time. We have our cash position from our treasurer's notes here. Today we're at $1,561,214. We have $883,280 in our squirrel away fund, so that is our reserve and restricted money, so that we have it when we need it. We currently are $136,553 payables that are right at the 60-day, ready to go out. We have a total outstanding invoices of $288,419. We've been working, we've got a capital project bond that is coming up, we did it in on the 15th, oh no, 15th, so it's next week, isn't it? I was thinking of January, $18,000 that will be paid on that. Continuing working on budget as we talked about before, and Bonadeo is doing our 3-year projections for us so we can forecast out a little bit easier. Our retirement bill was, on the pension, was due for the annual bill that we get. That was $795,000, and that was paid on the 1st of February. So we're current with everything. We will, again, this year have to sock away a certain amount of money every month for next year's bill when it comes due, along with the $30,000 that we are paying off on the previous years that didn't get paid. So a lot of money going out for pension, a lot of money going out for healthcare insurance, big ticket items for the budget. Also, we've had a couple of good regional collaboration meetings over the last 2 months where I've brought in, right now we've got 8 municipalities and 2 members of the Department of State that work on infrastructure, looking at ways to consolidate efforts, shared services with the city, being in a position to help out some of the other communities, which then in turn helps us to sustain ourselves with regard to increased revenue coming in. A lot of interest in water, a lot of interest in sewer, and so we're going to break off this next time with a working group for the people who are interested in water and sewer to really do a deep dive in that and bring out some maps and really explore some of the things that would be important to them as far as how quick are they, how big of a priority it is. For some, it's very soon. They would love something, which, anything we do is going to take a few years to make it happen, but we have to start somewhere. And I'm really excited about the opportunity to work with these people. We've become friends over the last couple of years, and we're we've been talking about these things. Now we're with the state help there. They come in and they talk about grants and different things that we can do to consolidate. So it's not dissolution, it's consolidation more than anything. We talk about engineering, there's waste, DPW, the trash pickup. We've got several that are interested in that. It's an interesting group, and so they're looking at the city of Little Falls as being the hub for services, and that's what I'm thrilled about, because that's where we get the kind of revenue that we need to sustain ourselves. So very positive, very good meetings, and so we've been working on that. The skating rink, if you haven't been there to skate, or your family and friends, go to the skating rink. That I understand that tomorrow night, they're putting additional water on it tonight, so by tomorrow night it should be great. We have a skate shack there that with skates that have been donated by members of the community, and the kids come up. If they don't have skates, they just show up and they go try on skates, and they skate for the evening and drop them back at the shack afterward. It's been a big success. I'm surprised how many kids really take advantage of the free skates. And so it's nice to see. They have expanded it this year. They've made it even smoother. They have a section for the young, really young kids, so that they're not skated over by the teenage kids. And so it's been really a plus. So if you haven't gone skating yet, do so, because the weather won't last like this for too much longer. And then I wanted to mention too, just briefly, the snow ban that we have on right now, the parking ban. It is because our snowbanks have just grown into the street. So we have like one lane if we're lucky. Petrie Street, you can't get a bus through there. And so they have to cut those back and scrape them to the curb in order to be able to have traffic. So instead of removing snow because it's snowing outside, we're having to cut back those snowbanks. And this, according to John Sullivan, he was saying this is one of the worst seasons we've had in years, because the snow just is not melting. And we're getting a lot of cold temperatures. So that's why we have to do it now. Some of the streets with very, very narrow streets to begin with, if you have parking and you've already eaten up a lane that would typically be there, it's impassable. So they've been working on Furnace Street, and they've also been working, I think they've said, around Loomis Street. So they'll start tackling the worst streets, the most narrow streets first, and hopefully be done in quick fashion, but we need to allow them the time to do that.
They always do a super job. They did Pierce, Arthur, Fern, and Churchill today.
Did they? Good.
Yes,
Good.
they do a super job when they do it, so my hats
Yeah.
are off.
They understand it's an inconvenience to people, and they're really working fast, but we've got to allow them the time to do it. So the parking ban is on, and tickets are in force and active. So if we have, like I mentioned before, the city parking lot is one of those things. If you come in at 9 o'clock and park your car, just have it removed by 6. There are other spaces that we're looking into, and even looking into maybe plowing some of the Veterans Park area over there, trying to get an answer on that. So we're working on it. We know it's an inconvenience to people, but there's not much we can do. The weather has just dealt us a really tough season for DPW. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Jim, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
We are adjourned.